Welcome to Young Voices for Christ, a podcast brought to you by a passionate group of young adults from Crofton Park Baptist Church here in South London and Brockley. Here they come together to share their faith, explore life's big questions, and celebrate the journey of following Christ. Join them as they delve into inspiring stories, engaging discussions and heartfelt reflections, all aimed at encouraging and uplifting your walk with God. Whether you're seeking spiritual growth, community, or just a dose of inspiration, Young Voices for Christ is here to light your path.
Hi, you're here with me, Rianne, and in this episode of Young Voices for Christ, I'm going to be interviewing Philippa and asking her about her journey with Christ and the things she likes to do. So, hi Philippa.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself, like hobbies that you have, what you do in your spare time?
So in my spare time, I'm really into things like anime and manga at the moment. So I tend to watch those. I even like drawing those in my spare time. I also skateboard as well. And whilst I'm not doing all of those things, I'm at the University of Bath studying electrical engineering.
Interesting. So can you start by telling us about your current journey with Christ, or in fact how you came to know Christ?
So I grew up in a Christian household. Both my parents went to church fairly regularly. We went to Sunday school nearly all the time as well. And I think it was just a natural, normal occurrence in my life at that point. One of my aunts introduced me to a teen fellowship that her church runs, where they do residential trips to somewhere in Wales around there. And that was my first introduction as a young adult to Christ, really. Something that wasn't just a mandatory thing I do every Sunday, but something that would affect my life in general and have more of an impact in my social circles and my everyday life.
Okay, and would you like to tell us a bit about how your journey with Christ is going currently at the moment?
I think I got baptized quite young. Once I went to that residential camp trip, I was very inspired, and I felt very spur of the moment kind of baptism is the first step in my journey with Christ. So I got baptized, I think age 14. I got baptized in 2018, so probably 14. I can't do the maths on that, but I got baptized quite early, and it was a very strong sort of start, I would say. And then it kind of faded away a bit as I was focusing on studies and school. And then I think currently it's more of a trying to maintain that connection and that balance in my everyday life. I think going to university, it's very difficult to make sure God and Christ is the center of your life in everything you do. So I made sure to make friends with people who go to the local church that I go to, who are also students at the university.
Yeah. I
like having conversations about religion with my friends who even aren't religious or have other faiths. It's something we like to discuss with one another, and keeping each other in check as well, I think is quite a fun thing to do with your friends, especially if they don't share your religion. You can still bond with them over a shared sort of belief in a sense.
Okay, so you mentioned your faith not being as strong as it was when you were first baptized because of school and work. Is there anything you think you could do to change that, or to make your faith stronger whilst also studying and working?
I think I might have phrased it wrong that first time. I don't think it's the strength of the faith per se. I think it's just maybe the impactfulness or how inspiring it felt at the very start, because it kind of felt new in a sense that I was being reintroduced to Christ. And that kind of that being able to see people my age be so held by their convictions and very passionate about Christ was an inspiring thing. And then I think as I didn't see those people, wasn't in that space as much as I was back then, it kind of felt less inspiring and more tedious in a way. But I think something I've done recently is the church I'm going to at Bath has a very big youth group. They have a very big youth population, so a lot of their sermons are actually targeted towards the younger people, and it's a very good space to be in, I think, for most young Christians. Just a space where you have other people in your same age demographic who also believe and follow Christ in a very passionate way. It's just a way for you to also feel inspired to also strive for that kind of passion and conviction.
So it sounds like from what you've said that you find it easier to go through a journey with Christ when there are other people of your age that are also Christians around you. Would you say that's the case?
I would say definitely, yeah. I think having that one Sunday service prepares me for the week. And I think being surrounded by other Christians my age, it just makes it easier to talk and relate about things than it would for Christians who weren't of my age.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think it's also helpful because we're all kind of going through very similar things since we're of the same age demographic. I think I wouldn't be able to relate to the issues people have with faith if they're maybe 30 plus, 50 plus. But someone my age, we might have the same sort of issues or thoughts about certain topics. We can talk about those.
So do you think if you weren't surrounded with people that are Christian and your age, do you think your journey with Christ would still be the same?
I wouldn't say so, mainly because, like I said before, a lot of my friends aren't Christians. They either have a different belief or they don't have any belief at all. So I think it's a good balance to have because I see the effect I have on them because of my faith, and I see how me sometimes separating myself from them when they're doing things that I don't believe are right does show them that I'm living a different kind of life to them, if that makes sense. I mean, kind of off topic, one of my friends from secondary school when we were really young, she was agnostic at some point. And she saw my journey and getting baptized. She went to my baptism and she found faith, but she found a different faith, which is kind of surprising. But she does sort of hold me responsible for introducing her to faith in general as a concept, and seeing the way I lived and the way I believe things and the way I hold myself.
Yeah.
She was that's something she wanted to find as well. So I think it's good to surround yourself with not just Christians all the time, but you do need Christians in your life to just hold you accountable in a sense, and also to help guide you, because it's a journey we're all going on together, I guess. So it's just helpful.
And would you say, you mentioned that you have multiple friends that are non-believers or agnostic and atheist. Would you say that you find it challenging at times to, manage those friendships?
I would say no, mainly because if we do have any sort of discussion about religion, everyone's very respectful of each other's belief, and everyone does listen to one another. They bring their own points, and I know myself that I won't get swayed or affected by whatever they say.
Yeah.
But I always hope that anything I say is strong enough to maybe convince them to just look into things a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Think about things a bit more. And I'd say it's probably easier to manage those friendships than it is to manage friendships with the Christians I've made friends with, because sometimes when you make friends through church, the only thing you ever talk about is church. And you find out, I don't actually have anything in common with you other than church.
Yeah.
But then it's good when you have a bit of an overlap like I managed to find out that one of the people that goes to my German course class went to my church, and I didn't find out because it's such a big church until like the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's like someone I now can regularly go to church with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's good if you can find common ground in multiple aspects, not just your faith and not just your interests, but if there's like a crossover, it's a really good mix.
So continuing from your friends that might not be believers or might be atheists, a question you must be asked a lot is, why do you believe in God, or how do you know there is a God? So has there ever been a time where you know God has shown up for you, or you know you couldn't have done something without your belief or your faith?
I would say practically everything to do with my academics. I do like to think that I have some sort of intellect, but I know there are times where I've passed an exam that I shouldn't have passed, or I have gotten like another opportunity to study that I definitely shouldn't have gotten. I think the most recent example would be my first year at university. I struggled really badly with that first year, and I didn't make the exam like requirement, but I filed in, and I think they're called IMCs. They're like mitigating circumstances, and my whole family was praying throughout like the past 3 months for that, and then they gave me the opportunity to redo first year, and that was like one of the most current and most like poignant moments. I think I was like, there's the only reason I'm here at university is because of God, because I did not deserve that extra chance with the grades I got, and yet I was still able to somehow do it. And I know lots of people who didn't. I know lots of people who failed that year and they just couldn't go back to uni. They couldn't afford it. They couldn't get their mitigating circumstances approved. And I think usually with my academics, I know that I'll do well if I pray, and if I put all of it to God, that'll go well.
Thank you very much, Philippa. It's been an absolute joy to have you here, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.